In the really old days, the rivers were the intercontinental freeways, if you think about it. It was a very bumpy ride in a stagecoach, and the animal trails were mighty narrow, and the rivers were big and flat and wide. You could put your boat down there, and just like a freeway, you could travel through the wilderness. It was in 1811 that Nicholas Roosevelt brought the first steamboat down from Pittsburgh all the way to New Orleans to demonstrate that a self-powered boat without wind or sail could be a viable product in this country. Within a generation, we had 4,000 steamboats on the big rivers in the United States. Check out Mark Twain's book, Life on the Mississippi, if you want a really wonderful chronicle of those days of the steamboats. The steamboats were kind of sitting ducks for either army during the Civil War. Whether you were Union or Confederate, you could commandeer a steamboat, enslave all the crew, take all the liquor and food, all the coal and firewood, and by the end of the Civil War, the steamboat was pretty well out of business. But that's okay, because by the end of the Civil War, we had 250,000 miles of railroad track in this country. And within a generation, 1 out of 28 people worked for the railroad. This is why children in your family still sing, "I've been working on the railroad," because someone in their family actually did. Those steamboatin' days were disappearing, though. Back in early 1940, a woman named Mary Wheeler in southern Illinois took it upon herself to collect those steamboat songs. They're in a little slim volume she published that year called Steamboatin Days, and this song came out of that book. It was sung on the Jasper on the Ohio River back in the days when the steamboats were viable transportation. It sounds like it's an Old Testament hymn, but really it's a southern Illinois steamboat song. It talks about Little Egypt. They got a town down there called Cairo, Illinois, spelled just like Cairo in Egypt in the southern tip there. They call it Little Egypt if you head down there. I'll be gigging there in the middle of April, and this is a song I'll sing with them there. A little steamboat song that sounds like an Old Testament hymn. And of course, you're the folks, so we'll all sing it together before we take this intermission. It goes like this. Is your lamps gone out? Is your lamps gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Is your lamps gone out? Is your lamps gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Let's sing it together. Is your lamps gone out? Is your lamps gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Is your lamps gone out? Is your lamps gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Now come, my sister, and go with me. What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? I will show you the man who set me free. What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? The tallest tree in paradise. What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? You know, Christians call it the tree of life. What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Now Jordan's river is chilly and cold. What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? You know it chills the body but not the soul. What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Let's sing it together. Is your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? Is your lamp's gone out? What you gonna do in Egypt when your lamp's gone out? Oh, thank you so much.